Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. What day is it? Thursday. I always forget to do that before the show. You'd think I would have learned by now, but no, I haven't. We're here to talk about transfers today. We're here to talk about Andre Onana and the concrete talks. Look, you can see Onana. I've moved him onto look, maybe I'm a little bit overzealous moving onto the moving board, but it seems like he's really emerging as the top goalkeeper target. Not really much has been said about Diogo Costa. Updates from Fabrizio Romano, from Damasio on Onana, and we'll speak about those this morning. We'll speak about Mason Mount. The conversations are still going on, and Man United have been pretty firm about that £55 million price tag. That's our third bid. We don't want to go any higher. I'm going to run through the Athletic's latest on that, why it's such an important deal. Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail on both of those as well. We'll speak about Moises Caicedo. Everything's pointing towards the fact that Man United have a genuine interest in Moises Caicedo and that it wasn't just a ploy to make Chelsea accept our bid for Mason Mount, which I hope is the case because I've said this many a time. He would be one of the transformative signings this summer. We'll speak about all of that. We'll speak about Harry Kane, a little snippet on the takeover and conversations around it. But you saw the live that we did yesterday. I don't really think there's too much more to discuss this morning. Good morning to everybody. Who's down there in the comments? Nilanjan, you're down there. Ricardo, Linton, JVD, how you doing? Nars, I used to live with a bloke called Nars at uni. He was dead annoying. I'm sure you're a nice person. Saeed, we've got Nathan, Devo, Carl, Charlie. Who else is down here? And I'm sure you hear Sigmund, you're there. Paula. That is plenty. Julie, you're there too. All the regulars are down there and plenty of you watching on Facebook. Let me pull this up so I don't miss anything here this morning. All the live chat is here. We're on the go. Let's go. And I tell you what, you want a good story to start the show? How about this? Now that's the sort of news you want to start your day with. Was it literally about 90 seconds ago? Yeah, there you go. Well, a couple of minutes ago there. Lisandro Martinez is back at Carrington. Hands in the air, people. Hands in the air. That is a good story. That is what you want to hear. If I'm correct, Manchester United's initial players are due back, I think, next week. We've been told early July, so we don't actually know how early in July they're going to be back. But given that our first, let me quickly check the dates. I'm pretty sure our first preseason game is on the 12th of July. Let me check this quick. There you go. Right, let's pull this bad boy up. These are our fixtures. So we're playing Leeds. I think that's in Oslo. That's our first game on the 12th of July. You would imagine that Erik Ten Hag would like a week with the players before then. So we can assume, and this is an assumption, around about the 5th of July is when the players are back. But no, Lisandro Martinez is there a week early. And I bet you he is chomping at the bit to come back. I can't wait to see him back. I really, really can't. Having him back and Onana as a goalkeeper, Man United are going to be a very different team in the build-up next season. And that is such a fundamental part of Ten Hag's style of play. We haven't really been able to do properly. And when we have done it, it kind of stands out like a sore thumb because it kind of surprises you because you don't really expect it from United. Look at that down there to kick off the show. Rudy, how you doing, Rudy? Rudy's just gifted 5 memberships. The best community that is out there, without a shadow of a doubt. Tim Daly, that's a very strange. Why the long face? I don't know. It's just that my face is quite long. It's not my fault. Nothing I can do about that. Robert, you're saying nice to see the man crush continues. Oh, hell yeah. There is a proper man crush on Martinez, but rightly so. The guy's an absolute monster for us. Look, okay. I covered all of this yesterday, and I don't think there is, and I don't think there's another need to have a conversation this morning around the takeover. I covered this article from Bloomberg yesterday, and I explained my reasons why I went live. I know so many people. I notice it in the comments. I can sense how you are feeling as a community, and there's the frustrations. It's past the point of frustration now with the takeover. It really is. Any sort of excitement around it, even from what I would consider, something that's worth covering from Bloomberg. As I said, I'm looking more towards the business journalist side of things at this moment in time now with the takeover rather than the traditional football journalists. Share price, not really much to say on the share price. Conversations around that we don't really need to have too much. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. All right, I do try my hardest not to feed hysteria. Sometimes I'm guilty of it, but I am just trying to cover the news. Do appreciate that. And I do try and cherry pick. I don't just cover all the news, because if I just gave you all the gossip throughout the summer, you go absolutely bonkers. But United People's TV will make a signing for United. I actually did. We made a new signing this week, actually. Hopefully, brought another guy on to help with the shorts videos. If you watch him, big up to you, Reese, for reaching out. And another sort of member of the community who sort of reached out at the right time with the right skill set, and now is going to come on board. And there's so many others like that, by the way. That's kind of how United People's TV has grown, quite organically. It's cool. Really is cool. Let's dive straight into it, and let's make this one a transfer focus show. I hope that the 30th of June, I hope that is some sort of deadline that's being set behind the scenes at Manchester United, because we know full well that the 30th of June is the end of the 2022-23 year accounts. That's the last day. From the 1st of July, anything that happens after that goes into the next year accounts. So it might not directly affect the takeover. Maybe they're just trying to inflate numbers. But this is all assumptions and guesswork and speculation. But I hope that the 1st of July can mean stuff starts to happen, because the only thing that's happened so far, we know full well, is the 3 bids that we put in for Mason Mount. And there's been plenty of arguments from a lot of people as to why Mason Mount has been chosen as the player that United have aggressively gone for. Why is it that Mason Mount is... Why is it that a number 8 midfielder is the first player we're putting in a bid for? When if you look at the importance list, priority list of signings, we've all got the striker first. We've all maybe got the second striker second. I've always had a goalkeeper as my number 2 in importance. So I'm really excited about what's going on with Onana. But Man United here are remaining pretty firm on Mason Mount. I don't really think any more negotiations are needed. I don't really feel that any more talks are needed, because a deal hasn't been struck. But United have to stay firm on this. And I'm going to run through this article in a bit more detail later in the show. In fact, let me just pull this. Let me just go off there. Let me get this ready. I'll pull this up in 2 parts. So an article from Laurie Whitwell this morning from The Athletic. Here. Right. Because it's completely true. And I've said this quite a lot. Right. That this Mason Mount transfer, it really is an important one for United, because if we don't walk away, if we all of a sudden just pay 5 million more for Mason Mount, we've played our hand. Everybody knows. Oh, there you go. Yeah, United, they're bluffing. They'll give you what they want. So it's better in the grand scheme of things for us to lose out on Mason Mount and to maintain power in our own negotiations for any other transfers than it is to overpay and get Mason Mount. But everything is pointing towards the fact that, look, Chelsea are open. Chelsea need the money, man. They need to balance their books. They're after Caicedo as well. It's a really interesting one, that one. I say interesting. It's annoying. Yesterday, you can't help but be a little bit jealous, man. Sitting there watching Arsenal agree a deal for Declan Rice and sign Kai Havertz on the same day. I'm not saying that I'm massively jealous of the Kai Havertz signing, but I wasn't massively jealous of the Aaron Ramsdale signing. And he got that spot on. I think with the way that Arteta has gone at Arsenal, he's obviously been trusted. He's got the owners that match the ambition. I think that's the thing I'm jealous. I'm not jealous of the signings they're making. I'll be totally honest. I'm dead jealous of Declan Rice. I'm jealous of the fact that it's the 29th of June and they are heading into the preseason with probably they're probably their 2 biggest signings. They're going to be part of the preseason squad. It means that Arsenal will be able to start the season fast. And we know full well that United did not start last season fast at all. In fact, we got spanked in our first couple of games. And that slow start damaged us for the rest of the season. It's something that we have to avoid. And my hope is that those 2 lads there, Mount and Onana, we can get both of those done and in before the preseason starts. It might be over-optimistic wishing that, but that's what I'm hoping for. F-Scam, how you doing, buddy? You send a super chat. You're saying, is it possible The takeover will be completed by the end of next season. The way it's going with all the delays, I'm not surprised it ends like that. I'm not going to be... No, I don't think so. We know full well why all of these delays are happening. It's internal Glazer squabbling. I've spoken about it with you so many times. I think there was a random article yesterday I commented on. And the analogy that I came up in my head was just like, yeah, brothers and sisters are normally just like squabbling over the TV remote. Where is it? Where are you hiding it? Give it to me. Give it to me. I want control. Whereas with the Glazers, they're squabbling over Manchester United. And they just can't decide because the four Glazers want out and Joel and Avram don't. And they're the ones, they have to get a unanimous agreement, don't they? Sarab, you're saying Glazers waiting for dividends, then we'll sell. Well, I don't think that's the case. Remember that the Glazers didn't take dividends for the first time since 2016 last year because there was no cash to take. They couldn't take it from a losing business. Well, they did do it once before. I think they might have taken dividends on an overdraft. Not sure about that. But let's talk about what I would consider a seriously important signing for this football club. Now, the way it's gone down, it's indicative of a club that don't know how best to explain it, this De Gea situation. Because we're still 48 hours away from him becoming a free agent. We still don't know whether he's going to stay or not. We still don't know whether he's going to stay as our number 2 or not. He's obviously not going to be our number 1. Now, Onana has emerged as effectively the candidate. There were conversations around Diogo Costa and around Andre Onana. All right. If Man United were going to go into the market, it was going to be one of those two. Now, Onana has completely emerged as the top target. I'll run through the latest from Damasio, from Fabrizio Romano, and then we can have a conversation about it in the comments. But that De Gea situation, I'm sure you saw this yesterday, right? David De Gea tweeting the yawning emoji. Now, maybe he was just tired. No, he wasn't just tired. Maybe he's tired of the takeover, possibly. I think he's just tired of everything that's being said about him. I think he's tired of what's gone on and what is going on. Maybe there's more to it still that we just quite don't know. But I don't like it, man. I don't like it at all. You know full well that I've wanted Man United to replace De Gea for months now. But there is a way to go about things. There really is. And the fact that Man United offered him that contract and then rescinded on that offer, said no, and then here's a new offer with lesser terms, showed you something changed behind the scenes. Either Ten Hag's opinion really just nosedived after the FA Cup final, or he was told something different with budgets. Maybe it's the fact that maybe it's to do with Harry Kane. You might say that's a little bit indirect, but maybe it's to do with the fact that Man United at that point were going all out for Harry Kane. Ten Hag was like, right, okay, if we're doing that, then I can't afford a goalkeeper. De Gea can stay as number 1 for another season. We'll get a young goalkeeper in like Verbruggen, and we'll do that for a season. But then when the Kane situation happened, realized that we couldn't, maybe we will still go for Kane. I'll speak about him a little bit later in the show. But at that point, United were like, we're not going for Kane. And Ten Hag was like, right, okay, so we're going to go for a striker that's maybe 50 to 60 million. There'll be a bit more money for a goalkeeper then. Right, then I can rejig where my budget's going. I can get a new goalkeeper. Therefore, what I was offering De Gea before, it really makes sense now. I'm going to rescind that offer and give him a new one. But it just goes to show that the planning behind the scenes, it's chopping and changing still a little bit. As much as I was complimenting United for making early moves towards finding out about Kane and making early bids for Mount, it's obvious that the budget is tweaking and changing. It's and that De Gea tweet there, some definite shade. Al Mack, you're saying it's disgraceful behavior towards him. Yeah, Man United have got a history. Like if you, I don't know, you can go back. I'm sure there are other examples that you can pull up to me in the comments, but I'll always remember Rio Ferdinand explaining when Ed Woodward told him in the dressing room, oh yeah, we're not renewing your contract. Ed Woodward with Louis van Gaal finding out after the FA Cup final that he'd been sacked. I think Van Persie sort of disappeared through the back door as well. I don't remember Patrice Evra getting too much of a send-off. And there's quite a few players like that at Manchester United that you would expect that they would get better send-offs, but they just haven't. And it doesn't reflect well on Manchester United. As much as I think it's the right decision, all right, Man United should be replacing De Gea with, I think Andre Onana would be a fantastic goalkeeper. But there's a way to go about it. And it's just, it doesn't reflect well on Manchester United, man. Astro, you agree with me, and sort of maybe it's the budget that's caused all of this, but there's certainly mad confusion going on behind the scenes. And that's, for me, the thing that has probably changed with the Kane situation. There's a super chat there. Let me read this bad boy out. Who's this from? This is from Ryan. Thank you very much, Ryan. You're saying, I think Ten Hag realized the current setup works. The way we went to crap when Eriksen was injured was the turning point. I think he's trying to at least maintain the chemistry that he knew works. Well, if you're looking at the current setup, Ryan, I would say that one of the probably the fundamental problem with it is the goalkeeper. And people think people have always accused me of some mad agenda against David De Gea, and it's genuinely hilarious because I'm just talking about it from a football perspective. But someone like Onana comes in, watch how different our centre-backs play. Watch how different our midfielders. Watch how different everybody plays in our own half because of Onana. Because the confidence in the man behind you, you don't have to second guess anything. Trusting your goalkeeper should be subconscious, which is just impossible with David De Gea in the modern style of game. When you need your goalkeeper to be very good under pressure, your goalkeeper to be able to find those balls between the lines, the little dinks over the top. It just can't happen with David De Gea. It never will happen with David De Gea. Ten Hag knew that. I think budgets made him want to keep him for one more year. I think that's now changed. And that's why Onana, look, we're in concrete talks. This is from Damasio. Man United want Onana. All right. That much is clear now. I hope he's on the move. Connor, you're asking whether he is on the move down there. Of course, we're not at the stage of bids. So I can't come here with mega excitement. But it really feels like at this moment, that's why I moved him onto the moving board there. I think Onana's more than just a talking point now. I think United are making genuine strides towards trying to sign him. I think a deal for Onana, what price do you think? Okay, what price do you, if we do go for Onana, what price do you think that he would go for? I think you're probably looking at around about the 50 million mark, euros, 50 million mark euros. I don't know whether that's going to be the case or not, but it doesn't feel like it should cost that much more than that. Of course, and I will speak about this in a little bit, the United tax is there. And that's what this article here from Laurie Whitwell discusses. Look at that. The United tax. Because clubs do charge more because we pay more. We created our own tax by being crap with negotiations. That's what the United tax is. Joshua, you think 40 mil, 45 mil, 60 mil, 40 to 45? I don't think there's any chance we get into 40 to 45. This is a goalkeeper who has just been in the Champions League final and played very, very well, by the way. 80 million. Sod knows how much it's going to be. I would guess somewhere in the 50 million euros region. And I think that would be a very good price for a player that really will. Oh, man. I did not think that we would be having this conversation about signing a first choice goalkeeper next year. I was pretty, I'd accepted the fact that Ten Hag really wanted to go all out for Harry Kane and we wouldn't have the money for someone like Onana. And I just kind of accepted and went, right, we're just going to have to deal with it and hope this young up-and-coming goalkeeper that comes in can be a revelation. But to sign an elite level, ready-made goalkeeper in Onana, Man United are going to play like a totally different team. I think the bids down there in the comments, you're looking at somewhere in the region of 45 to 55 million, there or thereabouts for him. And I think that would be a fair price and a good price. You're saying that Inter Milan are broke. It doesn't really matter how club. Look, Chelsea have spent hundreds of millions and need a ton of money, yet they're still asking ridiculous amounts. Speaking about Chelsea, good segue there. It's from Jacob Steinberg. And let's have a conversation about Caicedo. Because if I'm saying, I think Manchester United, and I think I've said this all along, Manchester United can make 3 transformative signings this summer. Number 1, a goalkeeper like Onana, who completely changes the way that we build up and the way that we hold and possess and control a game of football. Mainly comes from him and how everyone else plays around him. That's number 1. Number 2 is a midfielder like Moises Caicedo. That real all-round, high-energy midfielder who can permanently cover the ground and make sure that United's players are never really left properly exposed. I don't know, like an all-purpose midfielder, I suppose. And that's where, in my opinion, Caicedo and Rice fit into. Rice obviously gone to Arsenal. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but I think it's a brilliant signing. I think Arsenal are going to be a much better team because of it, and I'm jealous of it. So that's a goalkeeper like Onana, a midfielder like Caicedo, and a striker like Kane. They are the 3 transformative signings that we could make this summer. I don't think we'll make all 3. I don't think we can afford all 3. Alex, you're asking about, so many people ask that constantly. I have no idea if Inter still owe us money from the Lukaku transfer. But remember that everything is amortized and broken down over years. Man United, at this moment in time, we owe over £300 million to other football clubs for transfers that we haven't completely paid for yet. 300 million. Like, we have debt in so many places. We have different types of debt. That's a big one. The overall debt to the bank is like $650 million. But then you've got all these other debts. The debt is still way in excess of way over 700 mil, I think. When you add everything together, there's different versions of debt at Manchester United, but that's going to affect our budget too. But let's read what the latest here is on Moises Caicedo, because Jacob Steinberg is saying that Chelsea are going to be making their move forward and they're making progress in their pursuit. We ran through Fabrizio Romano's update yesterday saying that they're properly going to the next level of negotiations with Caicedo. You've got Sky Sports here saying that Man United are going to be making a formal approach for Caicedo. And this is where, look, I don't know. You can let me know in the comments about this one. Do you think clubs are moving faster this summer? Or are we just more aware of it because it is June right now, recency bias and all that. Was it the same last year? I can't remember. For the life of me, I can't remember. But it feels like clubs are moving quick. Arsenal with Rice and Havertz. Newcastle on the verge of getting Tonali and getting that deal done. Liverpool obviously got McAllister. That was an easy one. That was a 35 mil release clause. City have got Kovacic. Chelsea, they're making some deals as well. And obviously United are dragging their heels. But we can't... fact of the matter is that we can't drag our heels with Caicedo. Because if we do, he's going Chelsea. And United will just have to sit there and watch. Given what Caicedo said back in 2021, he was speaking about Antonio Valencia as a role model and said it would be his dream to join Manchester United. I would hope that he would prefer a move to United. But Chelsea, living in London, the project, the players you'd be playing with. Look, which do you think the Caicedo would actually prefer? If he had 2 exact similar offers from Chelsea and Manchester United, which one do you think Caicedo chooses? I like to think it's United, and he fits in perfectly. But Sky Sports is saying that formal move for Caicedo is coming after making initial contact this week. I'll believe it when I see it. That's why, as you can see up there's no Caicedo's name. It's a good point there from Ryan. I hadn't even thought about Champions League football. Fair point. Really, really fair point. Caicedo's more than good enough to be playing Champions League football. I want to read through a couple of points that were made in the Athletics article on Caicedo. Let's see what Laurie Whitwell's saying down here. Said they've contacted Moises Caicedo's representatives and suggested they be prepared to go higher than Mount, of course, in terms of the fee. Brighton are looking to be paid 100 million for Caicedo, and that has led to connected individuals to severely doubt United's chances of getting him, or even their true intentions. They speculate United may have touched base just to irritate their efforts to sign him. United, it must be recalled what. Let's not talk about what happened previously with Caicedo, because that'll just make me cry. Something I read up here earlier in this article is this. Let me quickly pull this up, because this is definitely a talking point. Where is it? I highlighted it up here. Oh, there you go. Because there is a suggestion here of this. While United deny the uncertainty over ownership is affecting transfers this summer, several agents looking to do business with United report that only one major signing can be made before there is clarity on this front. Suggestion here from Laurie Whitwell that we can only make that one signing. And you know full well, I've ran through, if you haven't already seen it, I did a video earlier this week. I explained the sort of Q3 financial results, what they meant, what the top lines were. And Man United have got around about £73 million in the bank in cash. That's, you can go straight, withdraw that, liquidity. The sorts of money you'd use in signings. Now, of course, if we signed Mason Mount for 55 million, we wouldn't just go there, withdraw 55 and give that to them, because it will be about payment structure, payment terms. I don't know, 25 million up front and then the 30 million over the next 5 years. Sod knows how. No one has any idea how it'll be completely structured. We've only got 70 odd million in the bank. And the only thing that we've done so far is put these bids in for Mount. So maybe that is indeed correct. Maybe there is only going to be one big signing before the takeover is complete. I really hope that's not the case. This would be a good question, I think, right? Let me put this down on the poll. If you had to choose the next signing after Mount, who is more important? Right? That's a genuinely good question, actually. Caicedo or Onana? Who would you say is the more important one out of those two? Al, you're talking about the revolving credit facility. Yeah, that hasn't existed yet because it's been maxed out. It's going to be cleared tomorrow. No, yeah, tomorrow, I think. So come the 1st of July, that revolving credit facility would be done. Now, Elliot, you're saying it's an easy question. I don't know. Maybe it's an easy question because of the fact that Chelsea are probably going to be signing Caicedo, right? So maybe there's less of a rush per se to sign Onana compared to Caicedo. So if you're going to be moving aggressively for one, you can probably go for Caicedo ahead of Onana because no one else is really going to go and sign him. I don't know. I'm going to leave that as the question. There's a comment there from somebody saying Onana is more important than Mount. I don't disagree with that, but the only person we put in an official bid for is Mason Mount so far. Oh man, look at that, mate. Santa Claus Nielsen. How you doing, dude? What a legend of the channel. You've even got the legend badge. Gifting 20 memberships. Thank you so much, man. Make sure you drop a like on the video for Claus. And for the channel, actually. There are 2,000 people watching and only 300 of you have dropped a like on the video. There are 1,700 of you right this second who can just go bang. It's free, it's quick, it'll take you 1 second, and it makes such a difference to the channel. I hate begging for likes, but so few people do it that I always like to ask. I always find it strange how no one does it. I think everyone just enjoys the show and just doesn't, I don't know, just puts it over there. Doesn't really interact too much, but hey, you do what you want to do. Something that's happened yesterday is this. Fabrizio Romano confirming that Bayern have reached that verbal agreement for Kim Min-jae. Of course, his release clause comes into effect on the 1st of July, I think it is. I think it's £45 million, if I'm correct. thereabouts. I don't know whether Manchester United were ever in for Kim. I really don't, because all the noise around Kim came from the Italian press, didn't it? Rarely got it got talked about by the football journalists that we sort of know and trust and discuss here on the channel. You know, from the Athletic, from the Telegraph, and the Times. It got discussed, but never really from an exclusive perspective. They were more reacting to what was being said out in Italy. But Kim, he's going to Bayern Munich. I don't think that's one that we need to get too upset about. Personally, that's what I think anyway. I think he would have been a very good signing, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not trying to pretend that he wouldn't have been, but I wonder if we were ever properly in for him. I have to question it. I would. But let's see what you're saying down in the comments. Mount assisted Havertz in the Champions League final. So that's a good fun fact for you there. I'm not really sure what that's got to do with anything. Humphrey is saying Kim is immense. Yeah, I think he would have been a fantastic signing. I really, really do. But that's not one I'm going to lose sleep over. Gerald, you're saying, Sam, is it possible that Caicedo move may affect Mason Mount move? Of course it could. Absolutely could. But I think Manchester United, I suppose this all relates around budgets, doesn't it? Because Manchester United, we've got the space inside our squad for Mason Mount and Moises Caicedo. Mason Mount being that more aggressive number 8 who goes forward, who attacks on the front line. Moises Caicedo, I don't really think he's so good that I don't think he'll come in with a massively defined position at United, but he'll be able to do whatever role Erik ten Hag would ask of him. But I would imagine he would play in central midfield, more towards our own box than the opposition's box. So both of them could complement each other inside a balanced midfield, is my point. I don't really think it's a case of one or the other. I'd like to get both. I just don't know whether we've got the budget for it. Speaking about budget, Harry Kane was wiped out on my list as an option that Man United were going for. But now that Bayern Munich have come in, I imagine the conversations are sort of rekindled behind the scenes at Manchester United. Now, of course, this is just purely an assumption. What's your take on that? I'll be interested to know what the community thinks on Harry Kane now. I really am. Jason, you're saying 260 mil credit facility and 70 in the bank plus player sales. It could be a big summer. Yes, but as I said, Man United owe 300 million in amortized transfers. I don't know what percentage of that we've got to pay this summer, but a decent slab of that is going to get paid out. So you're looking at 260 and you're looking at cash and saying, oh, look, I can spend 330. We cut. The money isn't, the FFP is more of an issue than the money. And you know what I will say about FFP? And I've mentioned this quite a few times on the channel. I've always wanted to do a video where I properly look into the FFP numbers and I say, right, this is how much United can spend. You'll notice that Laurie Whitwell, David Ornstein, James Ducker, Martin Ziegler, Jonathan North, all the big hitters in the UK press, when it comes to FFP and Manchester United, no one ever puts a number next to it. Apart from, oh yeah, our budget's going to be 120 to 150. No one says, because of this, and FFP, it's because it's so complicated and there are so many moving parts. I don't think anybody can have actual confidence in saying, this is really what's going on with FFP. I've noticed that because it's such an important, everybody just says, oh, Man United, we're going to be restricted by FFP, but no one has ever been able to go deep into it. I'm not sure if anybody can, because it completely changes according to what players are sold. Really is complicated. Really, really is. But with Harry Kane, right? Let's speak about Harry Kane in the comments. Do you think that Harry Kane leaves? I thought he was going to stay, obviously, but then Bayern Munich coming in means there's a genuine option to go abroad. Alex, you're saying, has Kane said anything about his future? That's what I'm thinking too. How much control does Harry Kane have over his own future? Like, for example, Bayern Munich come in with an £80 million bid to sign Harry Kane. And Daniel Levy's like, yeah, all right, go on then. Good. Now, this is a bit of a strange article from the Telegraph yesterday, honestly. Or Harry Kane's building a mansion 15 miles from the Chelsea training ground. It's the sort of thing that you would read in the Daily Star. It's a bit odd. But Harry Kane is currently building a house in Cobham in Surrey. Him and his wife are expecting their 4th child. I don't think moving abroad is high on Harry Kane's to-do list. And that's not even taken into account the sort of the Premier League highest goal scorer record. But I don't know. Sam, you're saying never mind Kane, it's not happening. Stop your hype around him. What? Stop my hype around him. Stop my hype around quite literally the best. I think the best striker there has been in the Premier League for the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years overall. Harry Kane tops that list. He would be the striker signing that we could make. But yeah, I don't know. It seems, don't know. It seems unlikely that he'd want to move abroad. But that's why I'm saying, how much power does he actually have? Could he say, no, I don't want to move? Or is it because he's contractually obliged? Daniel Levy can just sell him to Bayern Munich if he wants. Or does the player absolutely need to want that move as well? Don't actually know how much power players have in that position. Cornish, you're saying, I never thought that Kane would go abroad. I never thought that. But maybe I'm wrong. And as I said, it's going to be a real test of Daniel Levy's stubbornness. Does he accept a lower price from Bayern Munich simply for the fact that he would go abroad? Or if Man United came in with a bid slightly... So I think Bayern Munich have bid 60 mil so far. Reports suggesting they're going to come back with 80 mil. If United went in with 85, 90, don't know. Or maybe Kane stays and then joins us for free next season. Yes, please. That'll be fine. Connor, right, let's have a look at the poll. I've got a bad reputation, bad habit of starting polls on here and getting so caught up in all the other conversations that we have that I forget to look at the poll results. But I didn't forget today. Let me go down here and see what you're saying. So we got 800 votes on the poll. And it was, if you had to choose the next signing after Mount, who would be more important? 56% of you said Onana and 44% of you said Caicedo. So it's close, but Onana is ticking that box. I think, as I said, I think the only signing this summer for me that could be more important than someone like Onana is Harry Kane. It's the only signing I would put as more significant to the club and more important than a new goalkeeper. And as I said, I didn't think we'd be having conversations around it, but because of how, if you're David De Gea at this point, you're leaving, aren't you? Surely, like for your own pride. I mean, but I honestly don't know where he's going. If De Gea does leave, he's probably going Saudi. Because I don't think anybody would offer him. He would love to go back to Madrid, I would assume. But Atletico and Real Madrid don't need him or probably want him at this moment in time. So he's going to be lacking options. So if he does leave, I think he goes to Saudi. And if I was David De Gea, after everything that's sort of happened, I'd definitely be more looking towards leaving rather than being second choice next year. Imagine how much that would piss you off if you're David De Gea. Second choice is sitting there watching Onana playing goal every week. You wouldn't enjoy it at all. Even if you were getting a decent amount of money, you'd rather get probably more money elsewhere. I don't think he stays as our number 2. I don't see it. I don't see it as likely. I'm not saying it's impossible. And that's just my interpretation of how he's going to react. Look, last few minutes of the show, your questions, fire them all in. Anything that I haven't spoken about. To summarize today's show, Man United are in concrete talks over Onana. All right. It's been confirmed by Damasio, been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. I hope that he is going to be if Man United can get Mason Mount and Andre Onana in before the preseason, I'll be happy. I won't be ecstatic because we'll still need that striker. But I think the whole Harry Kane situation and Atalanta's price tag on Rasmus Højlund has made that more complicated than we thought it was going to be. According to various reports, Man United are going to be making a formal approach for Caicedo. I hope that's the case, because he would be an incredible signing. I don't know how much we've got. I really don't. I don't know whether we can afford Mount, Caicedo, Onana, and the striker. Well, we'd have to sell well. And still, and I've mentioned this quite a few times, what's going on with player sales? Seriously, what's going on? Good question there from Robert saying, how's the merch going? Not heard you mention it at all recently. You haven't, because it's gone really quiet. I'm in the process of redeveloping everything behind the scenes. We're talking about a brand new shop, brand new distributors, brand new producers, everything. But it's going to take some time, and it's a lot of work. So the merchandise, it's all still available, but I haven't released any new designs. I've even got a brand new Rashford design that I've had ready for like 2 months now that I haven't released. I'll release that next season when it's appropriate. But I still want to get it right. That it wasn't working out, the one before. Devo, you're saying Garnacho number 7. What do you think? I think I've made my I don't care about numbers anymore, man. I really, really don't. Give Garnacho number 7 if he wants it. I'm fine with it. I said the number 7 does not have the importance to me anymore that it used to. And I would love somebody like Garnacho to make me remember what that number 7 can mean and how influential a number it is at Manchester United. But up until that point, I don't care. I think people are making way too big a deal of it. And if he wants it and it's available, why not? Sigmund, when's the next members call-in show? Are you thinking next season? I'm thinking with the software is now close, really, really close to testing. I'm going to test that out with members only. And part of that, which I haven't quite developed, is a call-in area. I need to get that. That's the next part. That isn't going to be part of phase 1. I'll be part of phase 2. My intention is to get the members' arms back for the start of the new season. 100%. That's my deadline in my head. Because I've sold it as a dream for so long, and I still haven't followed through in it. It's because I keep getting distracted by so many other things that I'm doing, which is a bit of a problem, actually. I need more people. But yeah, definitely by the start of the next season on it, because I need to develop the software too. What are we saying down there? You can buy Sabitzer shirt. Didn't really matter. I think Sabitzer is going to be signed. Don't think it should be signed. A swap deal for Caicedo. I mean, who are they swapping with? I don't know. Look at that. Dark and light. You just joined as a member. Big up to you, my friend. Call in when the takeover is complete. Maybe. I'll be too busy drinking. I can't wait for that to happen. I can't wait for that to happen. What? I'm also getting drunk. SK, you say next podcast with Ben. I'm always in contact with Ben. But I'll reserve the next chat for Ben when there's something real for us to talk about. I don't just want to do a podcast with Ben today and give you half an hour of just going around the houses, kind of going in circles and repeating the same information. All right. So big up to everybody. Thank you so much, Sigmund, for gifting 20. Thank you much to everybody else who joined in and for dropping a like on the video. Look at that. 750 likes we nearly reached before the end of the video. I think we've only ever reached 1,000 likes once during a live stream. And funnily enough, that was when I did a giveaway. What can I say? People enjoy a giveaway. Big up to all of you. I'll be back at lunchtime today. Not sure what the video will be on. I'm doing my research and I'll make sure it's a good one. But yeah, I'll be back here tomorrow morning, Friday. I'll try and do another interactive quiz tomorrow. Everyone enjoyed those. Big up to all of you. Much love.